The James Show Podcast.
So these people that run around following ICE agents, one of the problems that you have with it is, they're just trying to enforce the law, and they're not picking up random people just yet. When they're doing these raids, they're targeting people who are already on a list, usually with some sort of criminality to it. Now, some of it's violent crime, some of it's rape, some of it's child stuff, some of it's fraud, burglary, robbery, all kinds of. It's a nice little list of people that we should all agree need to leave the country, need to be taken out of society, whether they're legal or illegal. So it's been really weird that, they didn't go protest and follow around ICE when Obama was deporting people or when Biden deported people the few times that he did. They're doing it now. And do they not get that they're protecting like rapists and murderers and drug traffickers and human traffickers? And so this latest viral video here, the lady has a couple of gaffes, a couple of points of interest. Number one, she calls a Hispanic ICE officer a race traitor. Yikes. She's a white woman. And then secondly, when they say, you're interrupting us from getting a child rapist and a murderer, do you not care? She says, I don't care. Okay, I'll let you hear it yourself. I even left some of the lead up in there so you know that they were just running her license and they know who she is and how the conversation escalated to that.
This isn't where I live. That's fine, but this isn't where I live.
Do your parents still pay all your bills?
No.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
If my parents paid all my bills?
We just want to make sure you got home.
This isn't where I live.
It's okay, Olivia. We appreciate it.
You can go talk to them.
Well,
this isn't where I live.
So if this is not where your vehicle's registered, you might want to look that up with their state.
It is, buddy. My address is correct on my ID and where my car is registered.
Okay.
Good try, though.
All right. Thanks, Olivia.
Do you feel strong or what?
We're good. Have a great day, okay?
I'll keep following you, okay?
Oh, no, she doesn't care. It's all right. No, come on. She doesn't care? She doesn't care. They never do.
How does it feel to be a race traitor?
We were trying to get a child molester, right?
No, you weren't.
Yes, we were.
How would you know?
Because it was a woman you talked to.
His wife.
And then his plate came back as murder.
Also, I just want to say, calling someone a race traitor.
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a white woman.
Of course,
and
it is.
So this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look?
No, trust me.
When you guys
it is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that, trust me. No, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying this, trying to be a social warrior. If you actually cared, you probably would care about the child who got raped and also the person who got murdered by the person that we were looking for. But see, you don't care.
No, I don't care because you guys try.
Thank you.
Just try to detain legal immigrants. None of you actually give a
Yeah, I had to cut it off there because she said a cuss word. But this is amazing how just the selective outrage on race. Remember, it was just a week ago when people were falling all over the floor, sending me angry emails. You got to denounce Trump. He sent out a racist video. Oh, really? You're just incensed anytime someone's racist? Oh, no, it's just you hate Trump and this is going to make him look bad. But you'll ignore this. You'll ignore last week when another ICE protester called a black ICE agent a house N-word twice in the same little exchange here.
What, like we should rip people apart from their families?
Are you a man?
Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
House Sir, I need to move you. House KKK.
There you go. Is that a good look for them? Does that help? See, this is what Betsy Brantner Smith was talking about in the last segment. Just these people are allowed to be abusive like that. And look, it's your right to say angry things to cops and call them terrible names. But we still know that you're a bad person. I mean, we still know that this is what you do with your life. And you're just a pawn of somebody else. This isn't a thought you had on your own. You didn't go protest when 5 million people were deported under Obama. You're just upset because the TV told you to, because social media told you to, because people around you told you to. Let's talk to Ron and Garland. Hey, Ron and Garland, you're on WBAP.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Ron.
Just real quick, man, you have really got to have some really good patience. I mean, I hats off to these ICE people. Good Lord. I mean, for people to get up and spit in your face, man, we would have took them out in a heartbeat. You know, spitting on them, throwing stuff at them. You know, and then they want to talk about Barack Obama and Biden and all of them. They cleared a lot of aliens out back then. Yep, they didn't have goddamn freaking nutcases knocking down their door every goddamn 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
I don't know why they're this nice, Ron. I would be okay if they said anybody who shows up at one of our raids and blows a whistle, you're getting arrested. You're obviously impeding. It's not like you were just refereeing a volleyball game next door and ICE ran up on you. But if you're obviously impeding, trying to impede a law enforcement officer in the execution of their duties, just enforcing the law, we should actually just be enforcing the law against these people. They're getting special privileges. The problem is if ICE is going to start doing that, then they're going to bring in like 1,000 people, and the politics of that are a problem. So the heckler's veto is working, Ron. They're getting special treatment. If you go blow a whistle in a cop's face, you'd probably just get arrested immediately. You know, if you said this to a cop, you'd probably get arrested. They're getting special treatment, and it's all for politics.
Back in our day, man, we'd be spitting out teeth. Yeah, you come from East Texas yourself. You're a country boy, right?
Yeah, you're not from Garland, Ron?
I am, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. I'm just kind of, I don't know.
Well, I was raised in the country, more or less. You know,
we hear that. We hear that. But listen, Ron, there's almost a good case to be made for bullies, because a lot of these people, you can tell, they just haven't been punched in the face. One of the reasons I don't run my mouth is because when I was a kid, I ran my mouth in front of the wrong person and I got punched in the face. Deservedly so. You know, you try and show out and act like you're a big person and you're just a jerk. Eventually, there's going to be negative consequences. Eventually, you're going to come across a person who's not a good Christian that can turn the other cheek. Sometimes you're going to get headbutted in the face at a Deftones concert, just hypothetically speaking. I have a fun little parody to play for you. Because these in the last segment I was playing you, if you're just joining us, some ICE protesters, they like to film themselves and put themselves on TikTok, harassing ICE officers. There's a great parody where they're making fun of them, but they don't get called the N-word. They don't get called house N-words, so that's pretty good. Also, they don't get accused of being race traitors, but you'll hear that after I talk to Kurt in Dallas. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on. I wanted to say that I'm actually running for Texas District 33. I'm also a former police officer, and I don't know if people know this, but we have over 200 agencies in Texas alone that have taken the 287G training.
I don't know what that is, dude.
It goes on for customs and just the whole immigration stuff, and I think it's necessary, and it keeps our law enforcement, ICE, and everybody on track. We need them. They're not here to hurt anybody. They're here to protect us. And I think anybody that gets in the way, they should be arrested and dealt with accordingly.
Yeah, I think almost everyone agrees with that. In fact, it's one of the few things we do agree on. Deportations and voter ID are both north of 70%, even by Democrat standards. And it's 80% by the population as a whole. 95% of Republicans want voter ID. And I think, 76% of Democrats in the last Pew poll that we were talking about on Friday, I think it was. All right, Kurt.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how to fix it, though. I mean, they're not listening to this show. So let me play you this parody. His name is Jay Carsini. And it's funny because, thank you, Kurt. He's a little overweight and he's dressed goofy and he's looks like he's never lifted a weight in his life. So there's a little self-deprecation in here, but you can tell what's going on.
Just driving through my neighborhood, looking for ICE agents, trying to do my part, trying to protect my illegal criminal fellow human beings safe from ICE. Because this is ridiculous what's going on. Oh, what is this? We have an ICE agent here. Get my whistle ready. ICE! ICE! Run for your life! Run! ICE is here, everybody! ICE! I think we scared him away. We did it! I'm a hero!
I'm a hero. I love that. All right, that's hilarious. because the guy, pulled it off, and it's a great summary, but it's based in truth. And the truth isn't hateful. It's kind of sympathetic. It's crazy how they turn a microphone and point at you and say that you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, Nazi, literally Hitler. And what do we say about you? You need to stop listening to people on TV. This is like your life's purpose now. This is your religion, because this is why they do it. They don't do it because they hate you or they hate me or they think that they're doing good. They've been convinced that they're doing good, but also this gives their life purpose. I feel bad speculating about Renee Good, but she seemed to be a woman who had what a lot of us had, some rough patches. She had a divorce. She had some kids from that previous divorce that she didn't have custody with. She got remarried. She had a kid. That guy ended up dying on her. Whatever the circumstances are around that, this woman has had a rough life. And now she's in a lesbian relationship with the one kid she does have custody of. And she's now moved to another state, and she's part of this ICE tracking group. So she drops off her kids and let's go harass ICE officers all day. And that's been her bit. And a lot of people have found purpose. A lot of people have, found a reason, to give their life meaning. And they substitute what a lot of us fill with other things. A lot of us, it's their career. For a lot of us, it's our religion. For a lot of us, it's our, relationships, or maybe a relationship with one person kind of fills that hole in your void. But that void in your hole, I said it backwards. But for some people, they seem to have filled that void with politics. And, right or left, it can have ugly results. But when it gets you killed, you're dying for this cause. I think that's a lot of what he's making fun of is this, this isn't what you should be doing with your life. I'm going to run around and blow a whistle at ICE cops, and now I'm a hero. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's bizarre to watch because you and I don't understand it. All right. Hey, the next Park Report is coming up this Thursday. We're going to be at Whiskey and Rye Bar. It's at the bottom of the Omni Fort Worth Hotel, right across the street from the Fort Worth Convention Center. And it's that cool building that has the sharp edges with the balconies that stick out and come to a point. You can see it from the highway easy. So yeah, come on down. So there's going to be a couple reasons I'm getting you out there. Number one, I'm doing a live show from 2 to 5. And it's not going to be crowded with a bunch of cheer moms this time, although I kind of like that. We're going to have the bar pretty much to ourselves, and we're going to do 2 rounds of trivia, one at 5:30, one at 6:30. So if you work anywhere near downtown Fort Worth and you don't get off till 5, then come on down. We'll start a round of trivia for you. If you can't make it until later, if you have to drive in from somewhere else, like a Grand Prairie or a Mesquite or the Colony, see if you can make it by 6:30 and catch the second round of trivia. I'll have prizes for both. But anyway, you can make it out. Look, if you can ditch work a little early on Thursday and come out and say hi, that'd be super cool. On all the commercial breaks, I get to talk to people. I'd be happy to meet you. And you can judge me based on my appearance. We'll take a selfie. You can flip me off if you want. It'll be a good time. So the Whiskey and Rye, Omni Fort Worth Hotel, this coming Thursday. Live show. And then trivia afterwards at 5:30 and 6:30, hosted by me. One of the big debates going on right now is voter ID. The SAVE Act, it worked its way through the House, is now being debated by the Senate. I don't know if it's going to pass. I expect it to pass. 80% of America wants it to pass. 83% of America wants it to pass. 76% of Democrats say they want a voter ID law. Now, a lot of them will do the nuance saying, well, yeah, I want voter ID, but not this one. But that's not what the political bettors are saying. Chuck Schumer is saying this is Jim Crow 2.0.
What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
I find this exhausting. You're a bad person because you want voter ID. Meanwhile, about half of the states and most of the developed countries that actually have elections have voter ID laws. Are we all just racist? Is that legit for 5 seconds? Aren't you tired of being called racist for everything? I want to enforce our immigration law. Oh, you must be racist. I want voter ID. Oh, you must be racist. I want to appeal Obamacare. Oh, you must be racist. I want to get rid of food stamps. Oh, you must be racist. I get it. You don't want to actually have to debate me on the merits of my proposal, so you just call me racist and you dismiss me. I got it. But just like when he said 2 weeks ago that this is Jim Crow 2.0. No, it's not, Chuck Schumer, because if it was Jim Crow, the Democrats would support it. He's also fighting ICE at polls. That's one of the things the Democrats want. They want to insist that ICE not be allowed to be at polls. Why? Well, because they're going to intimidate voters. Well, who is intimidated by ICE that's here legally? I don't understand. You're saying we're not trying to get illegal immigrants to vote. We just don't want you to enforce laws against illegal immigrations at the polls?
That's a lot of bull. They show no evidence of voter fraud. They show there's so little in the country. And to have ICE agents, these thugs, be by the polling places, that just flies in the face of how democracy works, of how we've had elections for hundreds of years, very successfully. It makes no sense at all. And we will, in our legislation, we say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places.
If you're not cheating, then what are you worried about? What voter integrity laws could we pass that you wouldn't call racist? Is there? Can you name it? Is there y'all want any kind of oversight or regulation or proof that you're not stealing it? Yeah, we just turned off the lights and we put up plywood over the windows in the middle of the night. Big deal. Kamala Harris explained why she's against voter ID.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support? I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
You know, if that was the case, couldn't you look at the 14 states that already have their laws written in this way and see when they enacted this law? Because Alabama did it. They passed the law in, I think it was 2011, and the law went into effect for the 2014 election. And they were saying similar things. Voter ID is going to disenfranchise black voters and women who've married and changed their name. Well, turnout went up in both of those categories. You know, it's always about these predictions that are supposed to be so scary. And if they're always doing predictions about the future, it can't be disproven. You need to be super skeptical of that. Just like you need to be super skeptical of all these global warming predictions. You should be able to look back and say 20 years ago, Inconvenient Truth came out. Let's talk about those predictions. How many of them came to pass? How many of them have fallen flat on their face? I don't know. Did we have more major hurricanes making landfall than ever before? Or was in 2025, it was 0 major hurricanes made landfall? In fact, we only had 3 make landfall at all in the United States. Is this the apocalyptic hellscape you were promised? Do we still have snows on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro? Yes. Do we still have glaciers at Glacier National Park in Montana? Yes. Do we still have polar bears? Yes. Their population's bigger than when the movie came out. So just like they got everything wrong about all their predictions, inflation's transitory. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. Biden's sharp as a tack. This whole voter ID is just today's lie. It seems hard to say it's racist because when you look at all the countries that have it, a lot of them are pretty monolithic. You know, they have voter ID in Poland. Poland's like 99% Polish. Against whom would it be racist? How does it work over there? It's the same sort of call that gets people's attention, and they're going to keep doing this as long as it works. And I got to tell you, it still works on some people. There's 17% of this country that doesn't want voter ID, and it's kind of maddening because when you turn on CNN, 0% of their people want voter ID. It's like, how are you digging through not just half of the country that thinks this way? 17% of the country believes this, but 100% of the CNN staff believes it. What's going on there? Steve in Weatherford, you're on WBAP. Hey, Steve.
Hey, James. I think we need to make it where if you get 1 red cent of government entitlements, you have to have a photo ID.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say that. I think that would be better than what we have now, but I'm a guy who wants to get rid of all entitlements, period, so we wouldn't even have this problem under the Parker preference. So I think that's not a step far. I agree with what you're saying, but that's not nearly far enough in my book.
Well, that'll make them show up to vote with a photo ID. They want their M&Ms.
They're M&Ms. Oh, okay, that's funny. All right, good call. I like Stephen Weatherford. That should be the bare minimum, the absolute bare minimum. Rush Limbaugh used to do the immigration laws. His proposal. Let me play you that one real quick, because this is kind of brilliant in the way it's really hard to argue with this.
Everybody's making immigration proposals these days. Let me add mine to the mix. Call it the Limbaugh laws. First, you immigrate to our country, you have to speak the native language. You have to be a professional or an investor. No unskilled workers allowed. Also, there'll be no special bilingual programs in the schools with the Limbaugh laws, no special ballots for elections, no government business will be conducted in your language. Foreigners will not have the right to vote or hold political office. If you're in our country, you cannot be a burden to taxpayers. You are not entitled to welfare or food stamps or other government goodies. You can come if you invest here, an amount equal to 40,000 times a daily minimum wage. If not, stay home. But if you want to buy land, it'll be restricted. No waterfront, for instance, and as a foreigner, you have to relinquish individual rights to the property. And another thing, you don't have the right to protest. You're allowed no demonstrations, no foreign flag waving, no political organizing, no bad-mouthing our president or his policies. You're a foreigner. Shut your mouth or get out. And if you come here illegally, you're going to jail. Now, you think the Limbaugh laws are harsh? Well, every one of the laws I just mentioned are actual laws of Mexico today. That's how the Mexican government handles immigrants to their country.
Yeah, but somehow that's racist against Mexicans, I suppose. So, yeah, that's the Limbaugh laws on immigration. He just reiterated what Mexico's laws on immigration are. He just reiterated what most countries' laws on immigration are. Are we the only people that's not allowed to enforce our own border? And look, it's fun to hear the back and forth, because this isn't a losable argument. The people that are arguing against this, they're really grasping at straws. And Scott Jennings demonstrated that the last, Thursday on CNN. He's one guy, and they somehow found a table of 4 other people, Scott Jennings and 4 other people. And the 4 other people are part of the minuscule minority of a minority of a minority who don't agree with voter ID laws. Yet it's presented on CNN like it's a 4-to-1 majority opinion.
What voting rights is he taking away from black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0. So this is the same president. If we want to continue...
You haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new polls...
Dude, we are 30 seconds into this, and all Jennings has had to say is how. And there's a verbal dance that comes after that, but she doesn't say how. She just, they've been trained. This is what college trains some of these people to do. It takes people who are below average intelligence and teaches them a way of speaking that is almost passable to people who don't know any better. To other below average intelligence people, I think they think this sounds smart. You know, like if you're used to watching Paw Patrol and then you watch Animaniacs, you're like, oh, this is really smart.
Taxes on this. When you're making people have... That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID, the reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people.
Don't you love it? It's a poll tax. To get an ID, that counts as a poll tax. Why? Well, because you have to have your ID to vote. Well, yeah, you also have to wear clothes when you go vote. Is buying clothes, is that a poll tax too? I mean, these are all just such infinite stretches here.
And making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that black voters
the SAVE Act
dumb to know what's good for them? I mean,
the SAVE Act isn't just about
it sounds pretty condescending what I mean.
The SAVE Act is not
three-quarters of black voters who want voter ID.
But to be clear, the SAVE Act is not just about
I just love it. Well, I could listen to that for a straight half hour would be fine by me.
The James Show Podcast.